At the Great Salt Lake. No, I'm not at Saltaire, if anybody's wondering. It's out at the Great Salt Lake Marina, which they do give you permission to use a metal detector out here. So, anyway, I've got it set up in jewelry mode. I've got the horseshoe on. I've got iron bias low. I've got the sensitivity at about 8. Got the volume all the way up. Now that's really about all you can do unless you want to block stuff out, but seems to work pretty quiet. Now the thing about the Great Salt Lake is that now 10's not going to work. Too chatty. 9 seems like it would work. Yeah, probably still getting too much faults in. Let's go down to 8. Now the thing about the Great Salt Lake is that the salt content here is about 6 times saltier than the ocean, so the fact that it'll run on the beach is pretty decent. Now let me get into the water with it. Faulting quite a bit. Turn its sensitivity down to 6. Pretty quiet. I'm just not sure how deep this thing's going to be out here. I generally don't hunt the water. Back in a minute. So it looks like this thing will be a pretty decent beach hunter. Now, I am kind of close to an outcropping of rock right over here. And I'm not sure. I would imagine based on the mountains that are around here, it's volcanic. It really freaks a lot of machines out when you start getting close to it, especially pulse induction. So I think there's a fair bit of black sand here too. But anyway, I just wanted to show a quick video here on the Vanquish yard. I've got it set on coin mode, full sensitivity. Iron bias is on low, and the horseshoe is on. Here's a 4-inch dime. And by the way, I've got bad ground. Pretty mineralized. That 6-inch dime is a little hard for most things to hit. So here's the 5-inch dime. And then here's a 6-inch dime. Pretty hard for it to hit. And we can change modes. We go to relic, which really is not a good. Let me turn the iron on. It's still an iron bias 0, but relic mode is just really bad in my ground because it's so slow. Coin on jewelry mode. Still not as good as coin mode. So anyway, there's that. I'm down in my basement because it's cold and snowy outside, but what I've got here is a couple of tests set up. We've got nails end to end. There's approximately 1.25 inches to 1.5 inches between the nails and the edge of the coins. All the way along there I got a dime, a penny, and a nickel. Over here I've basically got Monty's nail board test, which we all know isn't reality. It's, all the nails are on the same plane. I mean, the other test isn't real reality either, but it still gives us some idea of how a detector performs. And then over here I've got a nail elevated. It's on a bag of dirt. Above, it's probably 2 inches above and 5.5 inches away from the penny. And so I've got the Vanquish here, the 540, a little more adjustable than the 340, and I believe the 440. I think this is the only one that you can put the iron bias on low. And so I'm going to go through these tests with the Vanquish and also with, just so you can see, an E-track and an Equinox, so the Equinox 800, so that you can see how these compare with each other. I'm sure people want to know how close this thing is to the Equinox, so we'll see here in a minute. And I did add something because I saw somebody do this test with the Vanquish. I think it was iffy signals. You know, the Vanquish can get that. I did not do it with a big coil, but it, you know, believe me, it can get it. But here's the E-track. Most detectors can get that without a problem. Here's this test. E-track can do that one, which, you know, most people wouldn't think it could, but it can. E-track cannot do that direction. But can do the others. And then this one, E-track has a little trouble with it. If you get right over it, you can pick it out. Here's the Vanquish with the big coil. We'll test the small coil in a minute. I've got iron on. I've got iron bias at low. It's in the coin mode, which is supposed to be the quickest mode. And let me go over this here first. Cannot hit any of those coins. Okay, here on the Monty's nail board. And then we're getting a little bit of chirping here and there, but nothing's consistent. And then for this one, I can't even hover with that and get the coin. So anyway, let's put the small coil on and see how it does. Okay, next up, about the Equinox. Basically running a Park 1. Sensitivity is only about 20. Iron bias is 0. So let's go over these real quick. Not an issue. That test there is not an issue. E-track actually does that direction better. I've got my iron on, obviously you can see that. The E-track actually does better in this scenario than the Equinox. And then here's the elevated nail. You're going to get a chirp off of that too. So you'd get that one. Alright, now, I kind of messed around with this the other day, and I wanted to see how off I had to get the Equinox in order to perform as badly as the Vanquish on this these side-by-side nails coin thing here. And so what I found was I had to put the iron bias clear up to 9, and the recovery clear down at 1. And it still is chirping on some of these where the Vanquish isn't. So I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes on the Vanquish. I mean, if you put these two, the Vanquish and the Equinox, side by side, and you just do a coin with no iron around it, if you look at the forum post I made, I've got what I feel are the comparisons as far as iron bias settings and recovery speed were on the Equinox versus the Vanquish. But when you get it in iron, there's something else going on. It just does not perform as well. So we'll switch over to a small coil on the Equinox and on the Vanquish, and we'll go over these again. Be right back. Okay, here is the Vanquish with the small coil. This is the part that really gets me, is this thing not being able to see those coins even at a slow sweep speed. Here's the nails between, are not a big deal. Here's the nail board. Just amazes me that this thing cannot do this test. Now it can do that one, which is really odd, because that's not the easiest direction. Can get that one way. And then this one, it doesn't have much of a problem doing this because it's so far away, but the big coil, it can't do it. Okay, so I'm going to grab the Equinox with the small coil and show you that one though, so we'll be back. That'll be more of an apples to apples comparison between the two on the small coil. Be right back. Okay, got the Equinox small coil on. Go through a few of these tests. There's the coin in between the nails. Here's this one. Obviously easy because we got a small coil. See Monty's nail board. Look at that one direction. So that does about the same as the Vanquish there. But it can get far more directions than the Vanquish can with a small coil. Struggles a little on that one. Struggles a little on that one. And then this test, it's actually missing some of those. The big coil does better. So the big coil nut scenario does better on the Equinox and on the E-Track. So anyway, I just wanted to also say, when I said this isn't reality, these surface tests, basically what I mean is that rarely do we find coins and nails on the same plane when we're out at like a ghost town or something like that. I mean, usually the coins were lost prior to the building falling down, so the coins are a lot of the times 2-3 inches deeper than the nails are laying on top. So once you add soil to anything, these types of snail tests don't always reflect reality. Now I know Monty found that position of nails and coin in a ghost town in Utah, but for the most part I think your nails are going to be above coins in a lot of scenarios, and in different directions. They could be straight up and down, on an angle, all sorts of things. So anyway, that's the test I got there for the Vanquish, and hope you enjoyed it.